AD carries, you know, we talked about Name versus Imp. Of course, we heard Monte Cristo talking about it in the preview show. This is a big, big battle. We've got to see which one they're going to go with here.
Where's the Alistair and the Maokai ban is what I'm wondering, because we were thinking that White was probably going to ban those away to keep them away from Koro. Koro doesn't actually play those champions very frequently, at least the Alistair, but that's because it's banned all the time.
Right.
They actually ban it themselves. So good scouting by White there, seeing that Koro and FCZF aren't going to be playing the Alistair, but still, that was a little dicey.
If we do see the Maokai come through, and I think it may well be first pick. It could be an AD carry first pick, but he has got
Janna
5 wins on it. Janna, of
Wow.
course, FCZF did play that throughout the playoffs, and there is the Instalock Maokai. 5 games, 5 wins for Koro.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works out for him.
Absolutely undefeated. But they're trading picks in that sense. I guess there's so much up right now. Remember, there was a Twitch ban. Kog'Maw is still available. I'd expect EDG to take it on this rotation. Zilean is a super, super, super high tier pick for certain teams. And I guess White was able to lock that down.
Looking at that pickup, Clear Love loving Kha'Zix. Dandy takes that right away. Going to be a great pickup for him.
Versatile pick as well, because we don't know whether that's a support or mid lane Zilean. We could see it on Pawn. It has been rising to the prominence, but Name going for it in the bottom lane. It is going to be that Lucian. We thought that may be one of the primary picks for the AD carries, and of course, looks like it's going to be responded with a Tristan.
Yeah, this has blown me away a little bit. Obviously, these are still high-tier picks, but I was expecting a Kog'Maw from EDG. Lucian is very much more about winning the lanes here. And so, all right.
That changes everything.
This changes many things. It's not something Looper has played, but it's something he has been training. It's something that has been coming up huge, especially in Korean solo queue. You see a ton of Rumble playing around. As far as the lane matchup goes, he can't touch a Maokai. He casts so many spells just to keep his overheat going. The Maokai is going to be healing like crazy. But as far as teamfight damage goes, it is absolutely off the charts.
And that's exactly what Samsung White loves to do. Get into those team fights. And they're going to have to try and get past the Orianna. We're going to see a lot of that throughout World. It's going to be picked up by Unstoppable this time in the mid lane. And that Jarvan pickup still coming through for EDG.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about it at the start. It is something that he's very comfortable on. Clear Love, of course. This is the return to the World Championships for Clear Love as here in Season 2. But it does look like it is going to be, well, Nami. We expected to see it a lot earlier in the picks and bans. It's got snuck through all the way to the end for Mata.
Yeah, well, one interesting thing is the team with Name doesn't play Nami very frequently. They usually let the other team get it every time. It would not surprise me if we were able to see the Nami on the other side right here. It fits in well with counter engage, which is what you want against a team like EDG. Even though EDG is a slower, more methodical Chinese team, they still turn it on. When they have Maokai and Jarvan, they're very much about an all-in engage, and if they're running that into a tidal wave plus an equalizer from Rumble, it is a whole bunch of pain.
Great counter coming out from that Samsung White, as you say, within those fights. An EDG #1 team coming out of China, only brought up in February, have pretty much combined a super team, if you will, and have gotten themselves here now to face what people think is the #1 team in the world right now. This is going to be an amazing matchup.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if viewers that are watching and are not sure about the Chinese scene, just basically think of EDG as the alliance that came together back in the start of the spring and suddenly won everything. Of course, Alliance didn't quite do that in the spring, but nevertheless, they have been dominant. They've dominated the Chinese scene. It is this is an official, proper challenge to Samsung White. Samsung White is the team that everybody, honestly, in this tournament perceives as the best team entering, despite the fact they are the #2 seed for Korea.
Yeah, but it's for good reason. Everyone fears them because they play against them in scrims, and they're really the team that doesn't have a major weakness. You can see that with their pick and ban. They can adapt to almost any situation, and here they're going for a lot of counter engage.
Well, let's see if EDG can find weakness on them in the late game as the players load into this one. Let's see how you are voting on this first match of the World Championship. Tweet EDG win or SS win to @LOL Esports. We will be checking in to see where the fan vote stands shortly. Mouthful of words.
And of course, you can see, this is one thing I wanted to notice, actually, going back to the picks, is Dandy. Dandy on Kha'Zix. It's a champion. He only played once throughout the summer of the champions.
It's definitely a takeaway.
But
it used to be Rengar. Rengar was on the table.
yeah, we do have to remember, obviously, that it's been a long time since we've seen these guys play.
Yeah.
Rengar is not the same power he was, and Kha'Zix is much more popular.
All right, gentlemen, we are on to the Rift. This is what everybody has been waiting for. And from Group A, we get the top 2 teams to start off the World Championship group stage.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. EDG starting out, of course, as the blue team. This is a round-robin group phase. Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D, of course, will be played over in Singapore. It's all about A and B right now. They will play each other twice, but that will be in 3 days' time. EDG will face the final match, actually, here in Taipei. Will face Samsung White. This is really a big tell. We talked about it, obviously, Monte Cristo and the crew on the analyst deck talked about. This is a potential final.
Yeah, it really is. These teams are both incredibly strong. EDG as well. Whether or not they're telling the truth, they said that they're not really preparing for Samsung White in the group stage because they are confident in their ability to make it out regardless, and are getting a head start on preparing for their semi-final or quarterfinal opponents. That's how confident they are in getting out of group. But yeah, this opening right now is fairly passive from both sides.
Nobody wants to give up that first leg. No advantage to either team here as we start. Looking at a little bit of the inventories, normal there as well. So it looks like no tricks up the sleeves here, D-Man.
So I want to get into the Rumble. The Rumble in the top lane. He's obviously up against the Maokai. Maokai's been incredibly strong. We did see SK Telecom pull out Rumble once throughout the qualifiers. Of course, it was the one game they won, was very successful, and of course used to be a champion heavily played in Korea back in Season 3.
Absolutely.
But it's been a long time since we saw this.
I mean, if we even think back to the All-Star game in 2013, we saw PDD's Rumble absolutely wrecking that tournament.
Yeah.
It's not like anyone is shy for Rumble, it's just that he's been gone for quite a long time from the competitive scene, and a player like Looper commanding Rumble actually makes me think he's more of just trying to withstand the lane, obviously make teleport plays, but he's there to counter EDG's playstyle as much as possible and make it difficult to be dived upon in team fights.
And those teleport plays are what brought Looper into the scene last year at Worlds. And if you think about the long range of Equalizer, even if he's late on these teleports, he's still going to be able to participate.
It's going to be such an amazing Worlds. This is such a great first game because remember, this Samsung White team has 4 out of 5 returning members from Samsung Ozone, and those guys didn't make it out of group stage. So this is a big moment for them, and they are not going to underestimate or underperform in this group stage by their own admission.
Speaking of big moments, the bottom lane. That is really what the focus is, especially for Edward Gaming. Name has to get going. He is the man that will keep the team rolling, and up against Impamata. This is really a big test.
It is a absolutely massive test because that is the lane that if it doesn't go well, every other lane is supposed to lose for EDG based on the scouting report. It's because Dandy is famed for his jungle routes and his gank paths. However, he actually got spotted out by a ward here, so he is vulnerable to a Clear Love collapse or counter gank here. That's what they're trying to set up.
Yeah, Clear Love definitely ready for that one. As we look back to the bottom lane here, we're talking a little bit about Samsung when they were Ozone, mentioning that very overconfident last year, and Imp is quoted saying that's not going to happen again.
Well, as far as bottom lanes go, Imp and Mata are the most aggressive 2v2 bottom lane pretty much in Korea. And Name isn't actually an incredibly aggressive AD carry. If you compared him with an Uzi from Starhorn Royal Club, he is nowhere near the same level of aggression, but above and beyond in consistency.
Well, going along with how
all the way
EDG
around
generally play, you've got to wonder, with the Lucian in there, how it's going to handle in the late game. Of course, we know Tristan is going to be strong. Yu's going to get out of this one fairly straightforward, just quickly. Defensive balls. Meanwhile, down the barn, they're hooking straight in.
Imp could be going down, and nope. Actually, they're going to turn away. Nami took a lot of early damage there, actually, and Imp was totally safe.
It was a completely won trade by White right there. Still a full mana pool on Nami, and able to sustain up. That harass on Name is going to stick.
And we actually saw Dandy there, a jungler to prep his ganks quite a bit, and he even wanted a return on that lane. Went all the way around.
Yeah, I was actually a little bit surprised there that he put so much investment into that gank and then to not even get a positive result. EDG has actually done a very good job so far to withstand Dandy's presence so far, especially you in the mid lane, out farming despite about a minute of time being spent by Dandy, both on one side of the mid lane and the other.
Speaking of pressure, we do see Koro going back. He's gone for a second Doran's Ring, so not going to be getting in towards that Rod of Ages as quick as I feel he'd like. It is going to delay his build for a while, but a lot of ping wards starting to pop in here. Potentially, we could be seeing EDG maybe making a play for Dragon in a few minutes.
They are a slow team, but they're not afraid to make moves. Definitely able to go for these early game objectives.
Yeah, one of the biggest questions that I had coming into this one was whether EDG could enter into a team fight phase without being terribly far behind. Something that Samsung White does in their victories, especially in Korea, is they absolutely demolish people. Actually, in victories, they average 15 more kills than their opponent, which is the highest mark of every team in Champions, including playoffs. They demolish people when they're getting ahead, and that always starts in the laning phase. So EDG, with a slightly slower style, is doing well to be even in gold here at 6 minutes.
We'll see what they can do to build around Name. Usually EDG's focus throughout these games. They'll be able to stay on the backside here as they now get a bit of aggression towards their side of the lane. Clearlove not going to get anything out of this just yet. Junglers staying on par with each other as the pink wards come out early. And we're going to see that haunting guy still for Rumble.
Honestly, I'm very impressed so far with EDG's vision control here. They're actually the team that's had more pertinent wards up on the map, and it may be restricting Samsung White's ability here. Obviously, Dandy was caught by that ward early on. There were multiple pink wards and sweepers bought early for EDG, and they're setting themselves up for some nice plays here.
Yeah, nice hook. Death sentence onto him. Didn't really come too much of it, though, and they're just pressuring them onto the tower right now. Of course, we also saw in that mid lane, Yu was pressuring Pawn. Pawn going back to buy, making his first trip back, comes out with that Tear of the Goddess. Necrotron Cloak as well. Yu's going to make his first back as well. Expect to see probably the buildings of an Athenes and Holy Grail on there. There you go. Chalice comes popping in. And we'll see how it builds from there. Big advantage in terms of CS already, though.
And this is huge for Dandy. Level 6 to a level 4 Clearlove right now. He can already start tearing people's faces off, as we heard in the Black Enola patches.
This game actually sets up for a very dangerous dragon fight if Samsung White wants to force it. Rumble, Zillion, Kha'Zix, all at level 6, have much more powerful power spikes than you will get from EDG's side. However, they're still not really forcing those things. Just check out the ward coverage from Samsung White. Nothing in that dragon area. And if I know one thing about watching Korean teams, they almost always ward before they look to set up a play. So as they move wards into dragon is when we can expect them to start respecting it as an actual objective to take right now. That pink ward could be the beginning.
Yeah, and that blue buff, it looks like it's going to be taken and given to you. We saw Danny making a slight move there. He's also heading up towards the top. Looper under a little bit of pressure here. Koro feeling confident, trying to delay him as long as he can here. Danny going to make his move,
this is
very, very low. Koro's going to flash away from this one. Looper's going to keep on chasing. Looks like he should be able to get away if they can lock him up. Pawn comes steaming in. They're going to lock on towards him. This could be the first blood of the World Championships. Danny pounds in, and there it is. Wow. The jungler takes it.
Even though they get the first blood, that is a massive investment, D-Man, right there. EDG, because there's no ward covered as well from Samsung White, you can tell they did not care about that as an objective, and it is basically a trade. First blood be damned.
Dandy gets himself some good gold on that kill, but EDG is picking up a lot, and now to deny blue as well. Not going to hurt Pawn too much, but they are going to go ahead and do the same. Both teams having the inkling to keep themselves in this one.
Ooh, Dandy actually, very important thing right there. Ooh. Accidentally took the red buff, the blue buff with his red.
Oh, FC's very caught out here. Nami trying to do what he can and put up a shield for his teammate with damage. And Name's able to force them off as he grabs the culling just in time.
Wow, great teleport cancel there at the last second by Looper. If he actually went in on that one, he would have been in the whole heap load of trouble because EDG was collapsing very well. Another thing about these teams that they do spectacularly well is make every skirmish into a team fight because they're almost immediately collapsing anytime somebody is in danger.
Koro sneaking through unseen in that top half of the jungle. Will get himself that ward down on the red, but back down the bottom. Explosive damage back and forth. Name taking a big hit. Death sentence lands on towards him. The wave comes riding through along with the Aqua Prison on Name. Taken very low. Has to back away from this one. Mana bounces it. Mana gets it. Fantastic flash there. And great play from the bottom lane.
If Imp and Mana win that 2v2, it is disaster for EDG. Name took so much poke from Imp, using his ultimate preemptively, and then getting hooked was just a bait for EDG to fly in there. Name falling in lane is not expected.
Very, very big. He talks a lot about confidence, and it comes from knowing that he can beat his opponents. Now, that might put a little crutch on that.
He did say in his interview that Imp, of all the players at the World Championship, was the player he wanted to play against the most. Well, he just died.
He certainly did. I was about to say this game is, starting off slow, as you would expect in a tournament play, because this is the very first game of the World Championships. Absolutely nobody wants to lose that game. Of course, we're going to have SK TSM. That's going to be a tense affair coming up after this one, but right now this is the big game. Who could get that #1 seed? Who will they face should they reach the playoffs? Because if you were to look at this group, these are by far the strongest teams in it.
Yep.
And that #1 seed is very important. But things are definitely heating up right now. You can see still very even in gold, despite the first Dragon going to EDG.
I can also tell that EDG has definitely tried to change their play style against White here. Danny jumping in for Koro.
Uh-oh, there's the equalizer going down. Koro's got a red carpet, but he's going to stay for the party on this one. And it's a level 8 to an 8 and a 9, and it's not going to be enough. Koro goes down.
Dandy's patience paying off once again. He waited in that brush for so long, and they're going to start making a camp out of Koro. They are really trying to get Looper fed. If that rumble gets going, there will be no slowing him down.
Good prediction, getting that ward down in the bush. Finds himself Javan the fourth, ready and waiting in the form of Clearlove. Invade from Dandy once again. They know that Clearlove's down the bottom, go straight in, take the jungle.
And here's the big thing that's actually been keeping EDG close in overall gold, but is not normal to EDG's playstyle. Clearlove right now has 33 CS to Dandy's 52. And he actually hasn't even ganked that much. Clearlove has spent so much time walking around the map, trying to scout, placing down wards, and really just trying to keep up with Dandy. He's never made his own plays, and he also hasn't farmed that much. Clearlove typically farms a whole bunch before setting up ganks. He will be really weak in these upcoming team fights based on how much scouting he's tried to do.
Well, we saw EDG switch to sweepers so fast. We see that Samsung White now has all of theirs, but he has just been going around trying to clear things out and not getting anything after, because Samsung White, as Mata has proven before, just is a god of vision towards the mid game.
Currently, you can see just looking across the map, talking about vision.
Yep.
It is very much covered. Both angles, both teams all got their coverage. Of course, EDG with a lot of pinks down the bottom. They did have them down there for that Dragon earlier on. One was just swept out by Mata in there. Koro taking a lot of damage. Just maybe a straight up one-on-one right now. Looper fancies this one. His ultimate is available if he wants to pop that equalizer down. Koro already used it. Blocks him off perfectly. Koro in trouble. Looper overheated. He doesn't have enough to finish it, and Koro gets away.
By the hair on his chinny chin chin. That was ridiculous by Looper right there with the cutoff. Maybe if he placed that equalizer a little bit farther back, it would have been fine. Whoa, that's aggressive.
Oh, he's going to be walking past the dark path. That's a hit from him. Big damage coming out here if he can actually get that blessing. Oh, the bubble goes down from Mata. They get him in, and it's going to be more trouble. FCZF is taking shots, and Imp's even going to get the reset on the tank to get out. Clearlove's only here to watch.
This game may be getting out of hand right here. Imp jumping over the wall right there with Trist. Obviously, Name hadn't hit his Infinity Edge yet, but you can tell they have just sensed an opening in top lane, in bottom lane, and they're really trying to take some advantage now.
Definitely getting the kills, that's for sure. That gives them that 2,000 gold advantage, and the first tower of the game will go down to Samsung White. Im leaps back away and goes to spend a chunk of that gold. One of the only problems, I would say, is Mata's the one that's getting the kills.
Hey, let's see this again.
Yeah, they thought Imp had gone back to base or just had not returned to base yet, which is one of the reasons FCZF was not in position for that lantern. If he would have been farther back, they could have done that. Oh, Pond gets caught out.
Mid-team fight. The ball goes down. Shockwave's still up as they try to put it in. Oh, it's going to get a miss on that one as Dandy gets himself out quickly with the flash. But the dark passage brings it back in range, and everybody's going to get a piece of that one. The double kill coming in for Unstoppable. And they're looking for Looper.
That is a big turnaround for EDG right there. Not sure exactly how that happened, but getting their first 2 kills on the board nearly 14 minutes into the game. It took them a while, but now they can even this game right up.
One more time on that.
Yeah, I mean, this was just Dandy and Pawn getting a little overzealous right there. Pawn CC locked so he couldn't use his chrono shift. At that point, Samsung White just has to bail. Great presence of mind there by FCZF to finish that one off with a flash.
First tower of the game going down for EDG, starting to turn some of their own pressure back onto Samsung White. You can tell these teams, despite what EDG said, have very much prepared for one another. EDG now in the form of 3-4 members all heading north. Looper's hanging around with the equalizer. This is a problem because Name and FCZF come around the side. Koro takes a lot of tower hits, but it does not matter as EDG collapse on the top lane. They will take the tower as well.
It's another one of these Dragon trades, though, right there. Samsung White was planning for the Dragon. That's where their wards moved. They moved them down to the bottom lane, meaning they fell in the top lane. It exposed Looper. He was overconfident in lane. He's typically a passive laner trying to push his advantage, and he gets baited.
That is what has been amazing me. A not trade-focused Looper going absolutely crazy in these fights. Samsung also, with that last 2 deaths they took, trying to walk into a very dark jungle. Not like them. I think they're getting a little ahead of themselves.
And even though Samsung White is winning this game, that was what most people expected. Everything else in this game has been unexpected. EDG has had very good vision control, sometimes sneaking through the wards of Samsung White. Imp and Mata are destroying Name and FCZF, despite Name being known and touted by many as the best AD carry in the world. They've been getting outplayed 2v2. That's not just Imp, it's because Mata is also the best support in the world by a lot of people's ratings. And it's also crazy here that Pawn is struggling a little bit on Zilean. Orianna has had her way with Zil, and you may become unstoppable this game.
Oh, Dandy spotted out FCZF there. Push in there, the hook does not quite land. Are they going to time that blue buff spawn? Remember, they did take it away from them last time around. I expect it to be coming up. They've come down to the dragon. They realize it is not there. And it is, of course, that blue buff was taken away by Pawn. So EDG a little bit off in their time in there. They tried to push out and make a play. It has left them exposed in the mid lane. We do see Name taking that turret, but look at Samsung White. They have grouped heavily to push them in.
It's incredibly difficult for EDG to get in position to stop this one. They're getting trapped and cut off. This turret's going down.
It has to be going down. They have so much disengage. Even if EDG tries to get into this one, Samsung opens up the map a little bit more. Might start to push that advantage. They have good items coming out in those spikes we were talking about on both sides as the AD carries as well get those items finished.
EDG grouping in the mid lane right now, trying to react a little bit slow, maybe going to try and force down the inner, but you can see the Imp is off in the top lane, and this actually may be EDG's advantage. Instead, they're going to collapse around. Look at them. They're trying to collapse across Imp, but the moment he's off in the top lane, trying to push that tower down, he's realized the danger now. He's backing off, and I think he should be safe.
This is a period in the game where so much is up in the air with so many turrets down. The vision control is incredible. Dragon's not up right now, so really the freedom that these teams have is unmatched in any portion of the game. One thing that ClearLove is focusing on right now, I think a little bit too much actually, is vision control. He was already a little underfarmed on Jarvan. He went an offensive first item, and he's followed that up with a Sightstone. He's going to be a piece of paper in these team fights. Zillion bombs, Rumble ultimates, and a Trist are going to melt ClearLove and make him ineffective come late game.
And now they leave Imp in the top lane, already quite ahead of pretty much anybody as an AD carry right now, easily to farm up against Koro. Not going to be a problem there. And Dandy, ClearLove cannot catch him without boots. He's got Mobies now, and he just bought the Hex Drinker. Crazy build from him, evolving the wings, and he's ready to get into even more fights with the team. Mata beginning his vision control around the map. We'll see what EDG can do to stop this. 2K gold lead.
Imp still laying in wait. The rest of Samsung White also moving up there, jumping straight into it, but you can see the Lantern ready and waiting. But 5 members of Samsung White are all making their way up on towards his top lane, and EDG are a little slow to react to this. Name still down the bottom. I think this tower is going to go.
This is Samsung White's play, just a better rotation. They even out the turrets and they extend their lead.
With Samsung White being so far ahead, EDG is not going to get there. Play safe in lane, wait for a Baron, win game. It's not going to be that easy.
Against a fully magic penned up Looper on Rumble right now, and a soon-to-be full item Pawn with the Athena's Unholy Grail and his tier. That Zilean has reached a peak in power. If he could just pick up some more cooldown reduction, that's all he would need. It's a very dangerous point in the game for EDG right here.
You're talking about Samsung a little bit in their vision. It looks like they've placed those pink wards a little deeper on both sides. Maybe getting ready to push their advantage a bit more. They do have 2 minutes on Dragon. ClearLove still trying to clear out as many wards. They have so many in such a close position, and it's not really providing them anything just yet.
You know, it seems to me right now, EDG, they want to fight. They're looking for that fight, but Samsung White is just avoiding them, happily to push those objectives. You can see EDG all grouping up the mid, trying to make something out of the jungle of Samsung White. I'm not sure this is the territory they want to be pushing, though.
Yeah, even though EDG is a slower team, when it's go time, they're very willing to go. Samsung White is actually pretty similar in that regard. They're ready to brawl, but mainly they want to either catch EDG without members or they want to catch EDG over diving, which is something they're definitely prone to doing since they have no answer to Imp's split push. The instant they see Imp split pushing, I'd expect EDG to try and find a fight, but because of the immense vision control from White, that is really hard to do. Dragon's up in 1 minute, and the vision battle has already begun.
Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of wards falling left and right. Pawn taking a lot of damage in the mid lane. Name and the rest of EDG collapsing in towards that middle turret, and that inner will go down. You can see just off of the side, though, Samsung White ready to come in from the side. Are they going to be able to react? Are they going to go for it? Because EDG, they can keep pushing.
Right now, EDG has the ward control in the places that matter, but White is just doing their best to counter that with the split push, trying to take them away from their points of power.
Fast static shiv onto Imp allows him to get here. He should be able to take that down with the next wave to come, but he is going to have a party here soon. Three's definitely going to be a crowd on this one, and it looks like he will get a bit of help from Looper and the rest of the team to cut off that advantage.
Catch! That Aqua Prism was crucial, but the Lantern followed through. EDG get out of dodge, and that was quick reactions. Dragon, though, is about to spawn in 10 seconds, and that will give Samsung White the advantage.
Equalizer down, but also half of Yu's health bar. White is still respecting that play a fair bit, though. They don't actually know that everyone on EDG is recalled. They need to get that Dragon down quickly. Otherwise, a bunch of full health EDG members will come back without the ultimates of Samsung White. It's smart of them to go now.
Trying to make that full team play down onto Imp, and it cost him the Dragon. Samsung White able to see what was happening with all the vision they still had up in the jungle. Somehow, after EDG clearing everything out to the max. 2 to 3 Dragons in the game, so EDG has been able to get back somewhat. But I don't know if it's going to be enough right now. That middle turret definitely helps quite a bit, though.
So the battle for wards is clearly about to begin. Obviously, there's a lot cleared out in that last moment. Baron is a potential, but not just yet. It's more a case of getting some vision down. So let's start taking a little bit of stock over the items that maybe they're picking out. You can see a whole bunch of pink wards being picked up by EDG, and they're starting to just slightly popping towards them second items. One is the big power spike, because I can see Imp has completed that static shift and Infinity Edge. He's going to start becoming a beastly Tristana, so EDG, they need to start quickening the pace up here.
Imp has hit his power spike. The first mid laner to hit death cap could potentially equalize that power spike. They're both working towards it. Right now, despite the 3,000 gold difference, the game is actually in a fairly close place. It is definitely in White's favor, fairly substantially though, because of the Trist. Because Clear Love is unable to get gold to create tank items, and because Coral doesn't have armor yet, EDG would need a catch, but they just kind of got caught.
Yeah, throwing in everything here. Whoa, Pawn's right in the middle of it, tries to slow it down to keep it. The fight begins, and EDG is trying to get out of this one. Coral gets jumped on, but the slow is wearing off, and he's going to try to flash over the wall with the rest of his team, but they will continue with the culling.
Coral in all sorts of trouble. The shockwave pulls into Looper. Looper taken low, but so is EDG. They're backing out. Now they're going to run back on towards him. MCZF's going to get picked off. It's a double for him. Could it be a triple? Yes, it will. And that is a big, big turnaround. Samsung White, they could turn and burn for Baron.
Just an absolutely pristine team fight there from Samsung White. They called out the bait from EDG. They poked them in the Baron pit. They slowed them down as they were trying to retreat, and they forced them into a bad play. Now they're trying Baron, but it's only 2 defenders from EDG. Imp goes in.
Whoa, that's going to be big. They get the shot back from the Buster. Imp wants to go down on this one, and he does. They pick up the double kill, 1 for each, and Imp's going to jump in to see if he can clean up this mid wave and get that mid turret down as well. They are moving as a perfect team right now. Everything's happening in their favor, and people are getting away with slivers of health.
The game just completely broke wide open. Samsung White is now dominating. They had the Infinity Edge. There was no death caps answered on the other side. The fear of Clear Love and Coral being too far behind was absolutely valid right there. Imp shredded through them. The zillion power spike here, level 13 with a lot of spells, just everything going Samsung White's way. Obviously, the tidal wave catching 3 was absolutely crucial right there, and they just couldn't run through Looper. He was going to hit him with the Flame Spitter, so they had to split up. Here, EDG in classic fashion tries for a turn, but you can see they're lacking tank stats, basically, when they jump in. Coral was already low, no armor. Clear Love really doesn't do anything. He locked a Kha'Zix in for half a second, and that's the Imp that they've been trying to keep down this whole game. When you lose the bottom lane and you have Name on your team, EDG doesn't have really too many ways of winning the game back in that sense.
There's a big, big advantage now for Samsung White, proving that #1 seed that they currently hold in everybody's perspective, other than the fact that they didn't qualify as it. They are the #2 from Korea, which is a little scary in the rest of the Western world's eyes, I think, and maybe even China's, because this is their #1 seed falling down to Samsung White. But there's a potential for coming back, and Pawn completely caught out of position. I don't think the rest of his team are going to collapse, but let's see what advantage they take from this. They know that the rest of EDG are all down there, and immediately Imp goes top.
There is no answer for Imp whatsoever. Look at his items right now. He doesn't even need a Last Whisper because there's no armor being built up by EDG. They do not have the gold to do so.
Far and ahead of the game right now. Samsung White looking to take this one home. We mentioned a little bit that EDG may not have looked at them so much during practice, but still, this is a dominating performance we're seeing from White.
Solid play. Clearly chasing the wolf. Not quite able to pick that one up like he'd wish to. So
everything's giving them trouble.
Where are they going to go from here? I mean, they basically had to sit back and hope that Samsung White now may make a mistake, because it really did crack the game wide open. They've got an 8,000 gold advantage, as you mentioned. Imp, he's an absolute monster right now. You can see he's got a clear 2,500 gold advantage over Name, which in itself, for Tristana versus Lucian, is a gigantic problem.
Yeah, and the fact that he's level 15, in small thanks to Zillion's passive, but mainly because he's been split pushing so much, just makes the range discrepancy even greater between Trist and Lucian. This has been a very well-played game by Samsung White. EDG definitely threw a few curveballs at them, putting a lot more emphasis into early game vision control, having a nice bait in the top lane for Coral that one time, but outside of that, it's really been a Samsung White controlled game.
EDG not forgetting to keep the wards up. Pinks across the inventories with the double sight stone as they continue to try and stop the snowball that Samsung White has here. Man, Shockwave pulls in Mata. He's just going to heal that one off, but ult down for... could have been a kill.
And not quite farmed enough. He would have needed to zero Mata out with that one to make a big impact. Now they're just down Shockwave and just hemorrhaging objectives left and right.
So Dandy stealing away the blue buff, the Prince of Thieves, as he's nicknamed by Monty and Doa. And as you see, the vote, of course, very much in favor of Samsung White right now. It's actually less, though, because it was an 80% swing to begin with. Now it's only 67%. EDG putting up a good impression at the start, and obviously they do face each other again. There's a lot to take from this one. Koro caught out. Teleport is not going to get interrupted. Does manage to get back to base.
I mean, that's another one upon actually.
Oh man, he's going to go down, but the team has time to get over there. Looper may throw down the ultimate for the walkout. It's actually down already past that, and it looks like Pawn gets himself enough speed up, dodges the dissonance, but the clockwork does wind up nicely, and he goes down. Looper could be in trouble, but the rest of the team is collapsing in mid lane.
Flash on towards him. He can see, as you mentioned, the team collapsing in towards him. He tries to turn it back on towards you. He gets the kill, turns around in a 3v1. A simple turnaround kill. It's great for him. Imp goes aggressive, actually leaps across to the side. Not sure where he's planning to avoid, dodging out of the death sentence there. Dandy comes around the side, and still Samsung White, despite losing 2 members, keep the pressure on EDG.
That right there is one of the reasons they picked Rumble. He has so much latent damage. Even in a 1v3, he could turn that kill right around onto you. Still a pretty good move there by EDG. They cannot contest this dragon, but they're trying their best to survive right now.
Very great play, and an interesting orb situation coming out in Samsung White's inventory here with the 2 scrying orbs. They want to be seeing everything.
Yeah, they just want to make sure nothing gets surprised on them. They know that EDG likes to group up as 5, so if they catch one, they usually end up catching a whole heap of players behind them. To just kind of go back to the start of the game, though, and all the hype around Samsung White, the player that stood out the most here was the duo lane of Mata and Imp. I would say Dandy was, even though he's a spectacular player, not particularly spectacular this game. That bottom lane performance against the cream of the crop from EDG and China, being able to get all those kills, it's been Imp and Mata this game taking over.
It's hard to not let that happen. You give Mata Nami, you have sustain for Imp in that lane, and they want to go hard the whole time. We saw Nami and FCZF go hard a little bit in the beginning, but after that, they've kind of just fallen behind.
It has been domination, and if one team knows basically how to control a lead, it is Samsung White. They've been in this situation many times. They're not going too aggressive, they're not going crazy. They had the Baron buff, but they didn't overly commit on anything there. It has happened to them in the past, and this time they are playing it safe. Looper, is he going to get caught out? Death sentence will land, and the rest of EDG claps.
That's a lot of damage they're missing from the fight. He threw the equalizer out as well, but you see how far EDG is behind. They go to clear more out. They don't go to take anything off of this.
Hey, quite honestly, that was just a sloppy play by Looper. They did not have ward coverage, and it was a nice catch by FCZF. Obviously, though, Samsung White has never put all their whatever's in one basket. You're going to always have a backup plan here, and Imp's that backup plan.
And I've got to be honest, if Koro comes down here, I don't think he can do anything with him. And he's just realized he was making a direct route.
He needs help.
And then he thought, nope, I can't handle this Tristana on my own. Name and Klilov all having to back off, but he's ripping the hell out of that tower. And on his own, single-handedly blows Koro backwards and says, thank you very much, your tower's gone.
Imp is playing with that lead about the best he could right there, completely knowing his limits, doesn't take a lick of damage there, finishes off an inhibitor turret, and now, because they pulled so many defenses down bottom, it gives them time to create vision around the Baron pit. All 3 sweepers just used, pink wards placed as well.
You know, this is a man that's clearly looking for tears. He tasted them earlier on, of course, against Piglet, who sadly is no longer on SK Telecom. Maybe he's looking if he can see if he gets them from Name. I don't know. This guy is maybe a little bit sadistic. Who knows? But it is Samsung White setting up, EDG looking for that fight, and they may well find it.
Well, so far been working out for Imp, known to be not as mechanically and strategically sound in fights, but everything's been 1v1 for him today, and it's coming out rainbows.
Samsung White has 2 different ways of winning this game that could easily work out. They're choosing to do the split push strategy here with Imp while trying to keep Baron control with the rest of the team, knowing there's no one who can deal with Imp. They also would win a 5v5 team fight pretty easily. So I'm surprised they actually haven't just grouped up around Baron and tried to recreate the fight that blew the game open in the first place, because they weren't nearly as far ahead then as they are now.
Lots of new things coming into the inventories being drank up. Pawn puts out an elixir there, which means they want that extra bit of power for what else is about to happen next and solidify that win. With the inhibitor open in the bottom, Koro's forced to stay down there right now, but the teleport is available. But Samsung White wants this. Prepping the fights, they're going to get ready for the Baron.
It maybe shows just a little bit of respect that Samsung White have for EDG, despite the fact they are 10,000 gold ahead. They're not pushing a gigantic advantage. They know that obviously with an Orianna there, it's pretty easy to clear. You've got the Cullen, you can wipe out them waves. Instead, they are drawing into the Baron, which honestly they could take with ease.
Yeah, and to EDG's credit, they have delayed Samsung White's execution on multiple occasions. The level of catches they've had is pretty great. This looks bad, though.
Flag and drag out, but he's slowed on this one. He does get the shield, so they know the rest of the team is close. Dandy looking to go in, but he backs off.
That's Jungler down, though. They flash into the F1.
To get away from the shockwave just about. That does mean it is a big ultimate down, and Samsung White, they know they can go for it. Klilov is not in the picture. He is very low. If he comes sliding in, you can see he's charging for the bait.
If they care for their lives, they don't go in here.
There goes the ultimate. Nami's wave is out, and they're forced to back up. Imp jumps into the fight. Koro's trying to do what he can with Maelstrom up, dodging all that damage, but it's going to be too much. The team leaves him for dead.
They're just trying to do as much damage as possible so Samsung White can hopefully not finish this Baron, but Imp is just unstoppable. He hasn't taken a single hair of damage, and he'll go wherever he wants.
He's going straight for it. Klilov forced away once again. Name's culling is up in a moment, but they did delay the Baron. Job done for EDG. They just need to sit back and wait a little bit longer. Imp sees a gigantic wave in the bottom.
What a gutsy team right there to just go in again and again. Every time someone get knocked out in the fight, they hold off with 4. The fact they only suffered 1 casualty is remarkable. And now White has to leave for wave management, again delaying the game for EDG.
How long can they do this? Imp is gigantic, solo pushing lanes by himself.
I'm going to guess not much longer because things are getting a little bit crazy here. Looper's incredibly strong. If they can make a super late game, you'd think the Zillion would fall off a little bit, but it's paired with a Trist, and the front line, despite having a Maokai, will still fall to an incredibly fed Trist. It's EDG is delaying here. They're hoping to catch a more ridiculous fight.
Speaking of catching someone out, we know this has happened in the past, and while he did say it, I'm talking about Imp here, says cockiness will not creep back into his game. It has done. He's a 5-0-4, massively fed Tristana. If he was to singly get caught out, he's been playing it risky so far, That could be a big turning point for EDG.
He would have to play
a massive damage dealer.
Remarkably risky, though, because they have the Zillion as the safety net right here. They're doing this on top of Ward, but they're doing it so quickly that I don't know if EDG can make it in. They're going to go for it, though.
Name's got a pretty good item build to start shredding in here. The culling goes out to start. Koro again in the front, but they were not able to stall it this time, and the fight continues just below Baron.
They got him down. They got him down. That is a big turnaround, but can they have the damage back on this one? Pawn is still alive. They need to get that mid laner down. Uses the ultimate on himself. He's going to pop back up in a second. Danny jumps away. Pawn is still alive. That is EDG picking up 3 kills. 2 members incredibly low. EDG, despite losing Baron, turned that fight around, and that is exactly what we said. If they can catch Imp out, they can turn the fight.
What a spectacular team fight right there by EDG. Down 10,000 gold and a Baron buff, and they can get this.
One more time.
How did this happen?
Oh
First off, you never see White do Baron on top of a ward. That's the first unexpected thing. Then, Rumble Wall gets almost nothing. Imp loses his mind, gets crushed in CC, and dropped before the Zillion All can land. Exactly the scenario we thought could never happen. They then catch Looper in Zhonya's. The fact that he was able to escape with a sliver of health is a bit of a miracle. That was nearly a clear ace. Baron is gone from 3 people. It's only on Dandy and Looper, and EDG shows they will not ever go down without many fights.
Looks like we got a lot of people still holding their breath because EDG just made a huge play. Only, I believe, Looper and one other comes out of Baron with that. Dandy here comes out of Baron with that one. Where can they use it? There's still, yes, a huge push to come out from Imp. That mistake probably won't be made
I can't believe that happened. The one thing that could spell a turnaround for White, and he rocket jumps in with no backup when Zillion's not in range. That is the definition of what he said he wasn't going to do. That was complete overconfidence right there by Imp, and a great capitalization by EDG.
Well, White don't look like they want to hang around this time. They're making the play. They're going to push down towards that exposed inhibitor, and EDG are not in position to deal with this one if they were to go fast for it. They see the Rumble, they see Looper making that move, so they are going to react. They are going to be in position. Name, he's got big off that last fight.
Huge.
He's got the items. And this actually will be much closer now for Samsung White.
Imp also has a lot of items, and Samsung White needs to be very careful not to give in to the chaos. EDG is one team, they're used to playing against a lot of teams that will make judgment calls with limited vision control. Right now, White is trying to set up a retreat. They're trying to control the initiation. They're going to ward up and try and play as a cohesive unit. If they don't do that, they will get drawn into the chaos where EDG thrives.
Well, currently, they have to delay. Imp's flash not available. Pawns is, of course, if that shockwave were to catch on him. If he didn't jump at the exact moment, it would be curtains. They are going to back away. And Samsung White, again, playing very respectfully on EDG. There's a big wave pushing on the top. We can see Looper's going to go deal with that one. And this is just buying a little bit more time for EDG, and they're happy to wait with this one out. Of course, the Orianna's just going to get stronger and stronger. And this team fight, whenever it happens, will be a massive deal because these teams are stacking up. We're hitting the 60K mark, so suddenly the gap, despite being, what, 10,000, is becoming a less and less of a problem for both teams. EDG, they have worked their way back into this game off that single mistake, and it could make Samsung White pay.
They got just enough catches to delay right there, and they honestly forced Samsung White into a very impatient decision. Like I said, obviously, they were able to secure the Baron, but doing it on top of a site ward when they have such pink ward control and so many sweepers is really out of character. So you can definitely see a little bit of fear or second guessing coming in from Samsung White here. However, that is 6 full items on Imp.
Yeah.
And when Pawn did resurrect himself in that fight, you saw he came back with full health.
Yeah.
So Zillion has enough AP that is basically 2 Imps if they play these fights properly.
Very, very big here for Samsung White to make this next one even bigger for EDG to come out on the play. Looking at Nami mostly as saying that his items right now aren't looking at much armor on the side of Samsung White. The most is on Looper, so if he can stay alive, if he can position and be the carry that EDG needs for these fights, it could definitely be a different story.
Uh-oh, Koro is in trouble. He's going to get collapsed on. The rest of his team are coming to help, but they are going to be too late. The question is, can he hang on long enough? Samsung White coming around the side. EDG coming down the pole, and the Leftland's there. An EDG rescue crew manages to survive and get him away.
But for how long? What did that cost? No real cooldowns were used for Samsung White. Koro is a little bit out of the fight. He has to recall, and they also have a bad path back to their inhibitor. This is Samsung White using half of a catch to try and get an inhibitor.
Putting on a bit of a stranglehold here. Should be able to take this one down. Wards all over the place as well.
Clear Love is thinking about a flank from behind. There's not sufficient ward control for White right now. Here comes Jarvan.
Oh, Matla's going to get caught now. Clear Love goes in. The wave will pull them, but the shockwave is strong. They're going to catch on towards everybody low. Koro, big, in between the team. They all back away. Looper having to use that Zonya's very, very low, and they're going to continue piling in.
Every summoner blown by this point. It's going to be a big shutdown there as Imp gets a kill. He goes down after in the retribution kill, coming from Unstoppable, and the fight has not ended yet. A bubble coming in, and they're going to keep going on to Koro. Finally taking down the tree. They give it a few more cuts, and the inhibitor is in their eyes.
You, the only man standing. Can he keep them away? Bay here, I'm not too sure he can. Pawn pushes in towards him, doesn't quite catch on. The death sentence does though, and he's going to get caught out once again. His ultimate backup just in time. You taken solo, Pawn comes back to life. The inhibitor finally goes down. Samsung White, they're still pushing. They can go the win.
They're trying to go through, and they have no AD carry, but they do have a 4-2 advantage.
40-minute game right now, 16-11 on the Nexus turrets. You up. You does not have his ultimate for a few more seconds, but Samsung White sees that window. They're out. A little too chaotic.
What a way to open the World Championships. That fight was Samsung White entering into the chaos. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. They get flanked at the start of it. Imp goes absolutely crazy, but luckily he took Name out with him when he fell down. If that didn't happen, if he wasn't able to land that counter damage, White would have been aced here. It's crazy to think because they won that fight so well. So obviously, Shockwave was a little bit lackluster there. They tried the flank initiation, and because Clear Love was still underfarmed, he wasn't able to pull much up. But here with Imp, look at how on the same page everyone from EDG is in this team fight. However, Samsung White had the same idea. As soon as you see the AD carry, you're going to go for it. Because they did that nice collapse, they were able to secure this one, and then it was just about keeping the team fight going so Zillion could get an ultimate back up again, and that's ultimately how they took out the inhibitor.
And D-Man, like you said, definitely waiting for Imp's flash. You can see it was blown in that fight, keeping him safe and in the right positions. Now 6, 2, and 7, the full build is out for him.
There are 2 scrying orbs on Samsung White right now, and there's one of them.
Peekaboo. Oh, Pawn actually pushing in, gets the bomb down. Thank you very much. Back away from this one. So, Super Minions shoving down the bottom lane. EDG, you have a decision to make. Do you fight the Baron, or do you let the Super Minions take your nemesis?
They have to go immediately. Otherwise, they're done for. They send Maokai back. He's not very fast at clearing those. They may yet lose an inhibitor turret because he can't clear these minions away. Samsung White holds all the cards right now.
Doing what he can, slamming the ground. Tree's trying to make noise. Nobody's there to hear it. The turret does get saved. He does hold it, and the Baron begins. But this is where EDG has come up big. Can they stop it again? Samsung already reconsidering.
Yeah, teleport was available, don't forget, for Koro, so he does hold on, and this is still very risky play by EDG.
Every time that minion wave hits the turret, it has to be cleared again by Koro. He bought about 30 to 40 seconds when he cleared that last wave, and it's surprisingly, White didn't really take much off of it. They are being a little cautious after what happened last time, and Koro has done a good enough job pushing that wave out that the teleport threat is very real, and White is not willing to do another Baron with 5v5.
One of the things we talked about as we watched White is the incredible objective control early. And they're still controlling that, but not as much, it seems, as they want to. Back and forth. Back and forth.
Do not do this, EDG. They're thinking about going to Baron, but White is way ahead of the game right now. There's no defense. This could be Inhibitor 2.
That's Inhibitor 2 gone. There's no way they can react to this one quick enough. That's a simple tower being just destroyed by him.
They will again try a flank, though. Watch Clear Love. He's trying to come down Jarvan. He seems very far ahead of the team right now.
Trying to get that Frost Queen out, does not hit it. Looper throws down the red carpet for the team. Koro's in again. The dive buddies go in, and they actually change spots this time. Clear Love's in all by himself, and Imp has free shots as they take down Koro. He jumps in. It's going to be a double kill. It doesn't look like there'll be any more, but it's eyes on the Nexus, and the triple kill dodge. The Quadra possibly on the fountain. He won't go as far, and they're going to go for the Nexus.
That's all they need. Right there. It was such a great catch. They finished off you before he could shockwave, and finally, White takes him down.
Beautiful game by Samsung White, showing a bit of weakness in the mid game as they got, I wouldn't say weakness, but over cocky in their strength, which hurt them a little bit. Name on the screen, trying to be a carry for his team, but could not come out here in the first game of groups. He played fantastic, however, throughout the game.
But what a fantastic opener we've had already, showing the strengths of both teams. And honestly, it was just hinged on just a couple of team fights that could have swung either way. As you mentioned, if Name had not gone down in that bottom fight, absolutely that would have gone EDG's way. And who knows where that game could have gone. Questionable decisions maybe from Samsung White, a little bit of nerves creeping into game one, of course. Now that one's out of the way. That's the big, strong game they had to deal with. Can they sweep the group?
It seems like they're